Hi guys, I'm Erica Muse out here at Let's Play Gaming Expo with Dallas Geek, and I have the honor of interviewing the creator of Rampage.
My name is Brian Colin, and Rampage is one of my many games I did in the early days for Bally Midway. I started out as an animator, became a game designer after, a few months out of self-defense. And Rampage, the origins of Rampage, on one sense, people think, it was because you loved King Kong movies. And yeah, I did, as a kid. But I didn't have video games growing up. My idea of fun was, army men and sand castles, and then there's nothing else to do except knock them down once you've built them. So that's kind of a universal thing, but actually Rampage didn't come from that.
Oh.
I got back from a trade show. I'd been at Bally for a few years now, and I always like to make sure nobody's working on anything too close to what I'm working on. And I'd seen some games that had animating backgrounds, and I thought, oh man, I can do big characters, I can show more detail, I can show comedy.
Right.
Why can't we do this? And the tech guys are like, no, our hardware doesn't support scaling or scrolling, and there's only so many background blocks. No, we can do this. No, we can't do this. And then finally the guy just shut me up by saying, you could animate a rectangle. What are you going to do with an animating rectangle?
Oh.
So I looked at Sharon, another artist, and we were sitting there, and I looked at her and I said, okay, so a building collapsing into itself, that's an animating rectangle. So, and then what knocks down buildings? Big characters. So big characters knocking down buildings appealed to me, the guy who liked to kick over his sandcastles. It appealed to, I pulled in a programmer, pulled in a sound guy. We all got excited. We wrote this thing up. We went to our boss. This is the best game we've ever come up with here. And of course he said, no.
Oh.
And then took it over his head to the VPs, and one by one, no, you can't do this, you can't be the bad guy, you can't do this. And just by a stroke of luck, the programmer Jeff Nauman and I started proving out the concept and doing the work anyway. And and all of upper management got fired.
Oh.
And they brought in a new guy from the retail side of things, and he introduced himself to the troops and said, your jobs are all safe, and I've got an open door policy.
Okay.
And I heard that, and you can probably guess who was waiting outside his door at 8:59 the next morning with the game design in hand. And fortunately, he said, yes, go with it. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Wow. So there you have it. Just keep trying. If you want it to happen bad enough, you can make it happen. What was your favorite part of Rampage to work on?
Well, I got to do a little bit of everything. I did the screen animation, working with programmer Jeff. I'd work on something in the morning. He'd have it working in the game in the afternoon. Back in those days, we didn't have much to work with in the terms of space or assets. So the fact that Rampage was opening up a window or smashing through and then revealing what was inside, we could put in dozens and dozens of little fun surprises. You can eat the guy, grab him off the toilet and eat him. But if you punch again, that toilet breaks and you get a face full of water. So
I love those surprises and all of the humor that was put in behind it. It's so great.
Humor was always a big part of, because back in the day, we had to make players like it, and the operator wanted the player off as fast as he could. And
yes.
I always felt as a designer, if I'm making the player laugh, he's going to reach for that next quarter.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it made it something that you could play at home with the family, and because it made people laugh and it brought in the rest of the family, not just the person that was playing it, it was something that you could continue to play with your family, and your mom wasn't just like, get off the video game. She'd go in there and she'd ask you to get off, but then she'd look at the screen and laugh and be like, okay, never mind.
Well, that was the other thing about Rampage. I'm not the most skilled video game player. So when, designing Rampage, I wanted to make it for anybody to play, even somebody as bad as me. So there was no wrong way to play Rampage. You could team up, you could fight with each other, you could go off in different directions. I wanted there to be no wrong way, and that kind of accidentally meant that little brothers could play with big brother, big sister, didn't matter. It had a real broad audience base, which was good for earnings, which was good for everybody.
Yeah, I gotta say, I loved it because I could play it with my brother, and he didn't just automatically kill me every time I spawned. And it was something that we could both play, and it was super fun. And like he said, said, you don't have to know how to play a game. So I guess it's one of my favorite games because maybe I'm not that good, which is okay. But no, it was a lot of fun, and it's a family game, and that's what it turned into. And it turned into a classic that everybody loves today. Do you have any new projects going on or anything else?
I'm still making games. I've been making games since 1982, so that's like 37 years, something like that. Yeah, it's a long time ago. Math has never been my strong point. I'm currently making a game for a museum in Chicago, actually 3 games that we're going to unveil in October. And that's fun. It's a huge touchscreen exhibit. It's got 3 different games in it, but I can't reveal what it is yet until October, so I can't really talk about that. But I've got like over 80 games that I've created over the years. So
80 games.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So out of the 80 games, what do you think was the most challenging?
Some of the clients, who I will not mention. Actually, I've been very lucky. Almost everybody we've ever worked with has been wonderful. And every game has different creative challenges. Sometimes they're in front of you. How do we make this fun? But a lot of times they're behind the scenes. We had a company come to us that says, we want you to do a driving game for a convention where everybody's going to be drunk and they don't play video games and they're going to be playing with their wives, but they still have to feel like they're kicking butt.
So Alcon.
And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I mean, if a creative challenge is what I live for. I work better if somebody gives me a box to push against and say, what can you get us done here? I'll figure out a way around, or, I love creative challenges. That's as much fun as the games themselves for me.
Well, that's awesome. Where can we find all of your current work? Do you have a website? Do you have social media?
Website is gamerefuge.com, and I update it religiously once every 10 or 20 years. So probably the best place to find out what we're doing is Game Refuge on Facebook, or Brian Colin, Brian F. Colin on Facebook. That's where, or on Instagram or on Twitter. That's where you can find out what's going on. We've got some interesting things coming up this winter, that a lot of fans of one of my old Sega Genesis hits, General Chaos, are going to be very excited to hear about. So that's just a teaser. We'll talk about that this Christmas. Okay,
so lots of NDAs for this gentleman, things that he can't really talk to us about, but that's okay. Exciting news for the future, so be sure to check out his website. I have one more fun question for you to close it out. If any of our audience hasn't played any of your games before, what is the one game you say they absolutely have to play?
Oh, I can't do the one game thing. I can do my favorite head-to-head game. Was a sequel to Our Tribals, which was the forerunner to NBA Jam. So Our Tribal is great, but the better one is Pigskin, because you are playing rugby with no rules with axes and get set fire to people. But it's all friendly and fun and, family oriented. But that's a head-to-head. And I like multiplayer games. My favorite game that I've ever done to play is one no one's ever heard of. Arctic Stud Poker Run was full contact deathmatch poker on rocket-powered sleds in a endless winter Cthulhu mythos, sponsored by a goblin-created brewery. And it's a riot, but you'll never see it. It was a PC game, but that's the one that's the most fun.
I would say describing it was almost a riot. My goodness. The fact that you have any games you've made that I haven't played is just sad, because they all sound amazingly entertaining. So I definitely have to try out your, do you say rugby with axes?
Yeah, that's Pigskin. That is
Pigskin. I've got to go home and play some Pigskin.
No first downs, no timeouts, no rules, man. This was, as an arcade game, this was hysterical, yeah. You're controlling 6 guys on a team at once. I mean, pure chaos.
So it's kind of like Twisted Metal for football or something?
It's full contact poker. So you are in a race where you're picking up cards, and you can see somebody else picked up your ace. You can hunt them down, blow them up, steal their cards from them. You can cast spells. It was ridiculous on every level.
So Twisted Metal Poker.
I'll go with that. Twisted Metal Poker.
Well, Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
I'm
It's
so
been
glad you
a
came
pleasure.
by. This is fun. Thanks so much. And from Halo, right?
Yes.
From Halo.
Thanks, guys, for watching. See you next time.